Then stop
This
recording from the
doesn't
beginning.
make any sense because it hasn't been recording the whole time. Now
Yes,
you're
it
gonna-
has.
No, it just paused.
It just paused.
I thought I had it recorded,
No.
maybe I didn't,
Oh,
I don't
It
know.
I
just
thought you cut it
paused.
off.
No, it just paused because before when he connected, it said recording in
recorded.
process.
Yes,
And then he
stopped
He
it
paused it.
because he said we didn't need to record.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Okay.
I just heard it pause.
So
Okay.
the other thing that on the extended day, you see, it used to be 3 to 5,
3 to 4:30. I know, so it's even more expensive now.
right? But the issue was I was going, staff members.
Everyone late.
Staff members were making overtime, $90, 90, it's hard, I can't hire a staff just to do 2 hours of work in the afternoon, so they're existing staff. Then I had issues with program quality, so I had to keep the director there because I was a nervous wreck. It was a
Do you
nightmare.
have to offer extended?
People
No,
love
but
that. I
people
think
love
they
that.
know
They will
really need a.
Listen, it would be
Work.
easier on my life, but these are
The other
services
camps
that people
don't do
need,
3
so,
o'clock.
Well, Rye does,
you know,
which is what I.
so I think 3 to 4:30 is like the best we could do in terms of, otherwise we were going over overtime and Jerry was mad at me because they're part-timers, you know, like it was just,
Do parents show up late when it's 5 o'clock?
yeah.
Do you charge them for
5:30,
that?
Yeah, $1 a minute, when they don't
Okay.
argue with me.
No, I'm saying you should, yeah, you
Yeah,
should.
it's crazy, and so like, we're hoping that if we ended at 4:30, that
But
they'll
shouldn't that-
mostly be picked up by 5.
Shouldn't that fee be on here too then?
$1 an hour.
Yeah, no, real, and I'm serious, no,
Um,
like it should be.
I get, we never really put it on here, which is one of those things we did.
It's on the, when you put out the camp.
Oh, it's
sign
on
out
there. It's on there,
It's
yeah.
definitely on there.
And
I
that
remember
helps
that.
because you know, we don't like, if you're Carrie's 5 minutes late for the first time, we don't say, give me your money. It's like perpetual, you
Yeah.
know? Because some people will
Somebody
leave
who
their kid for
constantly
20
abuses it,
minutes
yeah.
every
Repeat
day,
offenders.
every day. So,
So if you wanted to charge me $1, I would have been.
yeah, we wouldn't do that. It's just, it's
We
the
would have
only
rounded
way.
up.
Yeah.
All right, what do we have to look at?
$1
next?
is zero,
Alright.
it's zero.
Got a question for you?
Yeah, what's next?
Hold on. On the camp,
Yeah.
I mean, your costs are gonna go up, right? Busing.
Like,
Did you
for
see
the, did you see the buffer we have?
It says 0.
No, did you, if you go into the revenue section of camp,
Revenue said, yeah.
we're doing okay.
No, I know you are.
So I don't want
No,
to, I mean,
I'm
I
well aware
think
of
camp.
that. I'm well aware of that.
Do I
But you
think-
didn't use that many buses this
Because
year.
we used to
Did you keep it
lose
that way?
money on camps.
Yeah, I
No, we're
think
gonna-
campus still doesn't have all really true expenses. You don't have insurance costs here. You don't have an allocation of your costs here or any other management.
No,
So I think this is inflated. I don't think 107.
no,
It's-
that's just
it's
based off money.
Significantly less than that.
It is.
But you're
because
but they're not losing money. for
We're
sure.
not losing
No,
money.
they used to lose money. big time.
Absolutely. They
No, we
lost
used to
money
lose
the
money.
first year.
So we're gonna do a little bit more traveling
Right,
this year,
exactly.
for sure.
But then you're gonna, like, I think this year you had hardly any bus costs.
What's in there? 9 grand, 10, 12 grand?
In the past, it used to be like
40,
30,000.
35,
Right,
40,000,
right.
but that's because we were busing kids to the Homage pool,
Right.
so they could swim for
Mhm.
30
Well,
seconds
That's
and
what I'm
get
saying.
out.
That's why
and
I'm
go.
asking you, if you're gonna bus more, make sure that you consider that.
So we raised, I think we raised the camp fee, not this previous, like not this, we raised it significant. I don't know, we were at like 900, we went up a
Yeah, you
significant
did.
amount.
Mhm.
So I figure let's take a breather this year
Pause.
and then,
But won't you be increasing like your side trips because COVID is non-existent according to Biden and so forth?
but we're already more money than we were in full trip capacity. You know what I mean?
No, I hear you. I'm just always thinking about money for the community.
So listen, camp right now is $1,200 for residents.
And the prior year, it was 1077.
Okay.
How much more do we want to go up on the 1,200?
You don't know what your expense by next June, we have no idea what inflation will have done to any of these things. So
Right.
to not increase it at least 3% or
Right.
some.
So you're saying we
I
should.
was even
Yeah,
gonna say $5,
absolutely.
even if you just increase it $5,
Right.
I would rather see you increase it a tiny bit
Yeah.
than.
So
then
what are you
next year
suggesting
have
on
to
the
increase it a
1,200
lot.
for residents?
I would do whatever 3%, I would increase it at
3
least
to
3%.
5%.
What's that?
Absolutely.
3%.
3 to 5%.
So that would be 1236.
So make it
3%, so 1250.
Yeah, I
Right.
think you could do
1250.
350.
Because like you, I mean, I just.
Yeah,
go back-
because
And what was
we
that
just don't
percentage?
know, and
Oh.
it's ugly out there.
Yeah,
All right, so-
Exactly.
1,250, and then the 1,500 would go to 3% of 1,500. and-
Oh, I was doing the bottom one. So 1,300 would be like, so we're gonna do, again, because we rounded up, 1,300 really goes to 1,352.
Yeah.
Okay, so 1,350.
It's like, okay, just cut back, gas, right?
Yeah.
Why is the
Yeah.
non-resident fee not that much higher?
$1,600.
But it's only
spots.
He doesn't have, he
300.
doesn't have a lot of, them, I know that, 'cause they
I know,
do
but
it.
it just bothers.
See where you want to go. We
So
can go more.
put these up
You got
$100,
one.
1,600 and 1,700.
Okay.
My 2
And
cents.
people are gonna come. I mean, this is the greatest deal in the county,
It's still,
okay?
Oh, I have no doubt people are gonna come.
yeah, I just would feel better because I don't think this pricing, I don't think it's going away.
I don't
and
think so
so-
either.
Wow.
So 1250 and 1350 for residents,
Yeah.
1600 and 1700
Yeah.
for non-residents.
Mhm.
Well, no, then I would add the 50 to that too,
Which one?
the non-residents.
I added 100 to each.
Which
of
is
the
$100
non-residents.
You
more.
went
Ours is
15 to
$50
16.
more.
No, I just,
16 to
because,
17.
they're, what is it, 200, it's $300 more for the K through 6, right? 1,200 to 1,500, that's the difference, it's $300 more. So what are you saying, just to add it one extra 100? But don't forget, we're raising it, that's why I said to just add the 50, we're raising it at 50
Oh, I get what you're
bucks.
saying. So 16, 15, 17.
Correct, because you were raising
I
the
get what
50
you're
on the
saying.
resident prices.
I'm fine with that.
Okay, I
because-
wasn't looking to do more on the non-resident, but I don't care.
But I think that it's too close to the resident fee.
So
Okay.
I don't-
1650.
So it's 300, the spread is 300.
1650 and 1750.
They're gonna come. They're gonna
We
sign
need to
off.
get something to
Still
throw
it's
in.
400 now.
All the taxes we pay, we should at least look like we're getting something compared to a
I
non-resident.
think we give good deals to our residents here. At least
No,
try
but
to.
I
Yeah.
do, but I'm saying a non-resident shouldn't pay as close to what a resident.
You want a
pays.
better distance.
I agree.
Yes.
Okay, so we got 1250, 1650, and that's for the K through 6, and then 1350 and 1750 for the
Good.
7 to 9.
Yep.
Good.
Heather, if you have a different opinion, please tell us.
Yeah, Heather, you have kids in camp, so your opinion
Oh, I
was
think that's fair. It's a good price. It really is
A great deal.
for both
Magic.
residents and non-residents.
Then when we get the indoor
Ooh.
space, we might have
Indoor
to raise
space
it
in
a little
pool,
more.
it's gonna be a lot more.
All right.
Although,
the thing about an indoor camp is that you can separate the water from everything else, and that really lowers the number of.
Oh,
camp-
yeah,
of
once if you're in a
counselors you need.
gym, your numbers go. like
Oh, my
this.
God, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, the fact that you guys are an outdoor.
No,
summer
it's
camp
what,
is-
it's,
It's
let me
water
tell you
proximity.
something.
Yeah,
I
it's
saw a
close to water,
shift,
people, we want
and,
that.
and like, I'm gonna say this in the most polite way possible to my neighbors. I've seen a shift from hammocks to harbor.
I
Whereas,
don't think that's the only reason.
whereas the hammocks is used to sell out, now the harbor is selling out in 3 weeks, maybe less.
What do you think it is?
With all residents. So I think, and I think that's primarily, I mean, Tina
Well,
might
that's
know more than
reflection,
me,
Jason.
but I think
Yeah.
that primarily that is we're on the water.
Yeah.
How can you, where do you send a kid to get kayak and paddleboard
Yeah.
at a municipal day camp? It's pretty rare.
Yeah,
you know,
yes, I
so-
mean, in my experience, which we're probably talking 15 years ago now, your staff is better. My kid didn't want to go to Homix camp and the counselor be on her phone all day and not be playing games with them. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
heck, no, not here.
Your staff
Mm-mm.
is much better, right? Unless it's changed, but that's why I had switched at one point.
But cost is
There's only
a
one
part of the
number.
factor too, no,
It
Tina?
works similar. We're very close.
Really?
I think
Dollars?
actually last year, the resident town fee was the same as ours.
Really?
I think
The
they
ta-
raised
well,
theirs to be
The
equal to
town
ours.
fee does not include their trips. You have to pay
Yeah, you have to
extra
pay
for
extra for the
the
trips,
village
which
is all
is,
inclusive.
which is different.
All inclusive.
Which is
yeah.
nice.
Mhm.
Oh, I'm
Like,
a
that's
big fan
like,
of all
it's
inclusive.
huge to be all inclusive.
Because I can tell you now, if we weren't all inclusive, there are gonna be kids that don't go on trips because their friends
That's-
can't afford it.
no,
Yeah.
And That's not
terrible.
cool. I don't
That's
like
not-
that.
that's not-
Or they
not
forget
cool
to
at all.
pay it.
Yeah, I don't like that. So,
Okay, so I don't think
Let's-
anybody
yeah.
is worried about the total body fitness classes. If
No,
you think
that's-
that's good, let's
true.
let's vote to approve it.
Yep.
Yeah. Motion to approve the schedule as amended.
I second.
What's the next item?
So we did the fees, code
The
enforcement.
code
Wait,
enforcement.
did anyone vote against? I gotta write a memo up tomorrow.
No.
for the-
Everyone was
for
in
Nora.
favor of that, correct?
Mhm.
Yeah,
I.
Unanimous, right across the board.
The ayes
Heather
had
said
it.
yes.
Heather, yeah?
Thumbs up from Heather.
Just round up, that's all.
Just round up. Give me a round number.
Round up, we're good, let's go
I don't know,
next.
maybe
All right, so
I'm a
this
round
is
number.
just so you
I
guys
like those.
know, so what I'll do now is I write this up, I give it to Dan, and then he'll put it on for the board to consider whenever they have time. Hopefully sooner than later, because I gotta do printing materials.
I think that it would be helpful if we I know, like, we're supposed to look at it, but if you can tell us when it's gonna be on their agenda,
I
so
can,
we
yeah.
You can also get a
know
month- you
to
get
look.
blast. They get a
I
weekly
know,
blast.
but
Yeah, but we
you
know that,
sometimes people need a
we
push.
know the Wednesday before, that's for when the agenda's supposed to get set, so I can remember.
And sometimes the way things are written are not clear to everyone, so you.
Yeah, the backup doesn't go up until Friday night anyway, so,
Mhm.
yeah, we can just make sure the record parks clean out.
Yeah, so I'll
Because
edit
there's
this sheet.
definitely not enough people showing up to the board meetings and speaking what they feel.
I think people got lazy too, because
Because
of
they can-
COVID, and they can watch it from the comfort
But
of
they
their
still
home.
can, they still can, and they can dial in, they still can.
And Carlos will come back.
Okay, sorry, Jason, I cut you off.
Okay, so I'm gonna edit this and then I will write a memo up and I'll send it to the assistant village manager and he'll put it on. I will speak to Jerry about the 35 to 38. And ultimately, he'll do what he wants to do and the board will do what they want to do. But I think he'll be okay with the 35. I do. At least that's what I feel.
Maybe the revenue.
Are
is on
you
the
allowed to
fields
let me know
revenue
if he's
and the
not
camp
okay with
revenue.
35?
Yeah.
Because I just would like to give
Fiscal
soccer
year.
the heads up.
That's
I
to
don't.
set the
think it's a
fees,
big deal.
for the- as opposed, that's the fees for the future.
Okay, code
as opposed to the
enforcement.
Revenue from the past.
Where are we?
Oh,
Code
Do
enforcement.
we want
shouldn't
to
it?
talk about this? This is not, we don't really,
Oh, that's the same thing we've been approving
right.
for
No changes, so.
3 years and it works out really well.
What is
So,
it?
the large event facility.
yeah, it works out
Oh.
really well. And people tell me all the time, oh, this is similar to what other people do. And I'm like,
And for anybody who's new, this is just the facility fee. The actual costs that the village incurs are factored in on top of that.
for example, I'll give you like a very.
And this never existed before Jason started.
No.
No, she pulled the number out.
Just- Just so like you're aware, like how it works, like this weekend, we had a walk for
Outside.
home.
Dimension outside.
No, that's this week coming weekend. The past weekend,
No,
we had a walk.
suicide's
No,
coming
that's
up.
this weekend. Past weekend, you had the senior walk.
Yes.
Home on the Sound.
There's a lot of walks.
Okay, that was, okay.
That's
So
an-
we-
that's
they had a
a
parks
whole
guy, right?
shot.
We charge them a facility fee. We
I just
charge
have
them,
a garbage can.
we give them a different fee for the parks guy and then they write a check and so it's separate. They pay
Can we
both.
charge more when there's a walking path?
Maybe.
Okay.
But it's so that it's not, it's so that it's fair to both the
Right.
village and to the
Right.
people who are renting the facilities.
So Jason, there's another item. This is Parks and Recreation revenue discussion. Is that something different than the? chart?
No, well, the revenue, Carla wanted to talk about the revenue.
The Revenue
Remember?
is the fields and the camp. and,
Yeah, the
like,
field, which I put
Profit
all,
and loss statements.
Oh,
in the back.
okay, but it
Carlo-
doesn't have to do with
so
what we just.
Carlo specifically wanted to talk about it as relates to the fields. That's why you have all the field for all the years in there. Because he wanted to say like, why, explain it.
So basically, trying to remove and replace the playground equipment is pretty hefty. And we don't budget and we don't allocate any money. And when there is no money, replacement. So I was trying to basically earmark, like say, the money from soccer organizations or the cell towers or anything to just keep it, in the separate line item.
But I thought we're not allowed to do.
We're
that.
not allowed to do that, but we somehow, some way that it can be done, I would believe.
Well,
Tina.
Nora, I think you said it could be done if it was voted on or
The
something,
board
or
would
the
have
board
to adopt it.
Right.
This is because we discussed this at the last meeting, and I think my minutes are attached here, and I have it written up in there. You had said that the board can adopt it, and then any board can also change it.
Yeah, but basically.
And once the money goes in there, it can't come out if you earmark it.
Right, so that limits the clerk treasurer about what he can do if he has to transfer
Right.
money in different directions. So it's, if the Rec and Parks Commission committee wants to do that, it's a matter of working, talking with Augie most likely to see how it structures, because he has to do a separate fund. And probably even before that, seeing if the Board of Trustees is amenable to doing that.
Because Keith had told me, Carlo, for sure, it can be done. Keep wait, because I was on the budget committee.
Well, and I
at that
always
time.
remember Dan Margosha saying that when we first started charging field fees, he representing soccer was promised that the money that is
Yeah.
goes
Yeah.
to the field fees is going right back into the fields.
And he and I sat on the budget committee together, when we spoke about all that stuff.
Right, but.
Right, and,
And that didn't
Losing
happen.
money.
so-
but it is going back to field.
Well, now it is because Jeff's doing the fields, but the fields were never done before.
But I'm
That's a
talking
whole
about-
nother story,
But
right?
I'm
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about playground equipment, basically, I mean, that's a
Right,
major
but so
expense.
do you guys think that's needed, or do you feel like you are, when you need something like for the playground, that it's easily gotten?
It's clearly
I'll
not.
just speak on my-
because we can't get these playgrounds.
Yeah.
Well, let me just
Yeah.
speak on my behalf. Like, I'm not talking about parks, just, I'll tell you, like, in my experience over the years is that if I needed something, the board has never not approved it. They have said, can you look at it this way? Can you look at it that way? Can you change this? Can we look at how we can shave costs? But have they told me no? No, they haven't.
But you've been very judicious in what you've asked for.
Of
Look
course.
what we're trying to do at Florence Park with the rubber, trying
No,
to
no, no,
save
no.
it and preserve
I
it.
think we have been very
know-
good on what we've asked for.
You haven't asked
But,
for as much as.
No,
In terms of a like. I guess the question would be, would we have gotten Jefferson Park done without the fund? Because the answer is no, then yeah, we clearly need a fund.
Mhm.
The answer is yes, then maybe we don't
And
need it.
that fund is that's just a one-off, because it
Right.
was years and years and years of a recreation fee for projects that got developed, and so
Well,
it's
the fact that we
basically.
can't replenish that is,
Well,
I
it
understand what
could- I mean,
Carla's
it
saying.
can
I got a
be.
whole paragraph dedicated to it from the.
No, I hear
But how much
But you
building
don't-
is left?
I do.
Refinish.
And I-
Right, I
and
mean,
I
it would
agree.
only be replenished when there is development in the village, so
Right, right.
that was sort of like I mean, I think you could consider that like a one-time source.
You had a few big projects, right, that we.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna see the big projects.
You're
anymore.
not.
No,
right?
you're not.
What about this one across over here, or wherever I'm pointing?
Where are you pointing?
The one next to the movie theater, kind of, right?
Yeah,
Where
back
they're-
over
they're
there.
Making like real progress now.
Yeah,
like,
it's
looks
right,
big.
right,
Where
right
Honda
across
Bob
from the,
was?
yeah, Honda Bob.
Yeah,
But
I don't know if
it's-
we're getting
it's
anything
a
from
fee
that,
per unit, and it's not a lot of units.
Yeah.
Right. it's
That's what I'm
not-
saying. You
it's
don't,
not gonna-
you don't have the Sheldrake 2x2.
Right,
No.
exactly.
You don't have, the Mason.
You don't.
and all that.
What's the one, or if the restaurants underneath, you don't have that
It's
one.
just building up a reserve, basically, you know,
I
Money
would
to do
love
Harbor
to be
Island
able to do
playground.
it,
If
but-
you went to Jerry tomorrow and said, Jerry, we need to replace this playground.
Well, it's gonna be coming to you first, and it's gonna be
Well-
coming sooner than later, because Jeff has designs and
Ooh,
and quotes for, to look at, so,
that's exciting.
because that thing's falling apart.
What, Florence?
Harbor.
No, Harbor.
Oh,
Florence too, but.
no.
In a
Okay.
perfect world, we could get back on the schedule of every
Right.
3 years revisiting a park, because that puts us in the 12-year timeframe.
See,
10 to 12-year.
I agree with Jeff too. I'm a planner. If I was a sitting member of the Board of Trustees and I had a department head come to me and say, I need X amount of money over the next 15 years, and this is what the schedule is gonna be like, I think that's a plan that a board might want to get on top of, like,
That-
over the
well,
next
that's what
20
Carla's
years.
talking about,
this
is
year,
having
this
money to
year,
do it.
this-
If we don't have money to do
Not
it.
to be the
no, but-
Forest, but Tim was there last night. This is what I've been arguing, that we
Not
need
enough
to
I would
adopt
put
a
it-
capital plan.
I hear you say that.
I was
Every
watching
week
on
you say
Sunday
it.
night.
I do.
And you know what else, you know what it says? I circulate dates, no one, like, they don't.
but Jason, here we go. Think about the spring round. How many years has it been there?
2019, something like
Okay.
that, Molly was forced.
So, and we spoke about expanding it after, say, a 10-year period, and what happened? And what's the,
Playgrounds for kids.
We got a $45,000 renovation.
okay, and expanding it,
Band-Aid, we got it.
right? So initially, when it was supposed to be 3,200, okay, they split it in half. This is, we'll see how it works, and in time, we'll expand. But here we are,
That's also in our capital plan.
but 20 years later,
That's pretty well.
but the first years 10 through 20, the money's
But we
already there.
started as
Well,
649.
and one of the things I would also say about Harbor Island Park, and I think the village, the village didn't buy that equipment, it was donated by a group of people who raised the funds for it. And, not that you want to look a gift horse in the mouth, but when you get a park that's donated and it doesn't come with any kind of an endowment, the village agrees to take a park, and then the village is obligating itself to maintain a playground of that caliber
Right.
without any
With-
resource.
And I don't know
I mean,
how much thought was
parents
put
built
into it.
Parents built
Yeah.
it.
Right, but I don't know how much thought was put into the structural of it. wood.
Okay.
Whereas me and Jeff
Yeah.
would never put all wood playground in.
Time out. we need to move on.
Sorry.
Do
Yeah, it's
we
late.
think that we should try to do this, or should we discuss it at the next meeting when we have more time?
I'm gonna put all the revenue into the next one because
This doesn't have the full numbers, so like the 2022 numbers don't even make sense. I read, why are we so far in the hole, but it's got nothing for 20.
oh, because
the fall.
we're not done yet. We're
Yeah, so
still
why don't we
going.
wait until we have a complete
No, but I
year?
just, because we had to look at the field fee, I wanted you to see where we're at now. Like,
Yeah.
I know I sent to Tina, but she'll get this every so often, but like, just so you see how much we brought in now, up until now.
Yeah, let's table.
All right, so I think we have to table the
next
revenue
month,
discussion for when we have all
So
the
can we
numbers.
put it
and
on the
we can
agenda
figure
for
something
Sure,
out.
it's like,
And it's in the minutes from the last meeting.
It
It'll
is.
be in the minutes from this meeting.
A
And
snippet of it.
and just so that you know, we start doing our capital budget, really, I think maybe after the first of the year, we might be able to do that earlier, like the capital expenses. So I think this is a long-term conversation to have with the Board of Trustees.
Yeah.
So it's good that you're talking about it, and, I think it's just figuring out a way of doing it, seeing if there's a will to do it.
All right, what was the code enforcement?
That's gonna be a topic.
So code enforcement,
10 minutes.
I generalized it because everybody kept having complaints about problems in all parks. So I don't know, you said something, he said something, I don't remember.
Was that about
Garbage.
Yeah, there's
Bottle
like
bottles,
broken
graffiti.
bottles? I mean, I think this all goes back to the safety, so I don't know. Like, I don't want to have a longer than a 5-minute conversation with this honestly, but I think we need to like figure out like what can we do about the cameras, the lighting, and like partnering with the police department or somebody that's at the parks in the evening to monitor, because high school kids going and breaking beer bottles and then infants walking around is super dangerous.
So I had a meeting with the chief because I wanted to make sure that I understood everybody's role and how everything worked. I was surprised to learn that the park rangers cannot really enforce anything. They can't give out tickets.
they're just eyes.
They,
Right, so
Yeah.
they
They're
can
just-
call the police and say, come down
just
here, and if
eyes.
somebody.
that's correct.
That's what they're
exactly
for.
they're supposed to do.
They're just eyes.
And
They can issue a verbal,
And-
like, say, don't do that,
Yeah,
but
they
they
can tell
can't
you.
do anything else.
and their hours are not.
It's minimal.
So what's the point, really?
And then,
Yeah, I agree.
So like, just myself in thinking, I'm like, okay, so why is that? And why would you then have a park ranger and not just have like another parking enforcement person to expand their role to include parks?
Yeah.
They're not gonna go around.
They're
at
not gonna
night.
go around. And I can tell
Would
you,
I mean.
In
you-
Portchester, where I live, they have auxiliary police officers that go in cop cars that say auxiliary park police. Like.
Do
I
they
was
have
talking
more
to Frank about
authority?
it. Like you know, like the people at Playland, they're like, they're police officers, but they're not like police officers. They have weapons and stuff, but they're not like,
But they
They're
can
like-
give tickets.
yeah, they can write tickets and
So
summons.
the
and
only
stuff-
thing she
stuff like
mentioned at
that.
the harbor is there is Richie Bell
Right,
that can.
he does, but he's Saturday and Sunday daytime hours, so 8 AM to 4. And then I think the park rangers come out after that.
I can
So
tell you for a fact that people who really don't have that kind of a power are not gonna get into a confrontation with anyone.
Well, no, and so I
They're
mean,
told not to
the,
do that.
the
Yeah,
other.
they don't.
But so they're not even gonna tell somebody,
They're
hey, put that
instructed.
cigarette out,
Right.
because they
No.
don't want someone to get in their face and yell
So
at
the-
them, and
the
that's the
other-
Not
bottom
in the
line.
dark when they have
No.
beer
No.
bottles.
They're not gonna do it in the daytime either.
The other thing that I'm assuming, I did not ask, maybe Nora knows, I would assume that the parking enforcement get paid a lot less than the parking enforcement. And I believe the parking enforcement are. for
What,
the
you
same-
said the same
I
thing.
mean, park rangers, sorry. The park rangers get paid a lot less and they're part-time and seasonal
They're
employees.
part-time.
The
citizens,
parking
so, yeah.
enforcement are full-time. I'm sure they get paid a lot more, plus they get benefits. So
They're- 'cause they're
costs the
full-time-
village a lot
they're
more
full-time
money.
employees.
But is it,
The park
do we
rangers
think
aren't
that it's
affected.
worth, like,
I can tell
this
you,
is just my
First off, you have to
opinion.
find out what capacity that the parking enforcement has over code enforcement. because it's two different separate things.
Yeah.
Right now, it's a free for all
You could give a
with
parking
permits
ticket, but
alone.
I can't
People
just-
are out there without permits all day long. Sports
So-
permits, whatever, and after I leave, it's a free for all, a free for all out there.
So,
Volleyball leagues without permits, I'm talking about
Right.
full on uninsured,
Right.
just showing up, destroying our grass,
All supposed to.
making money off. Yeah.
so I mentioned like the things you meant, you were brought up in emails, and the only answer was that if somebody sees something, they need to call the police.
Set of eyes. That's
Right,
accepted.
so
So you really just need to call the
Citizen
police
patrol.
whenever you see something
but
that's
like, it
not
doesn't
right.
help for
But-
me to call the police at 4 PM the next day.
No.
No, it has to be when
So
it's
they're gonna be
happening.
like,
That's the
are you
problem.
okay,
Yeah.
ma'am? Yeah, like.
So
it's-
the, I mean,
Yeah, right.
the only thing I thought of, and if anybody has another idea, is it worth, like, wherever you have signs saying no this, no that, put at the bottom, the phone number for the police, like, I don't know what else to do,
Can we not, like,
you know what I'm saying?
so, in the nature of time, because we've already been here for 2 hours, can we table this till next week or next month rather, and is it possible to like talk to the police department and
Can we
see
have
what
a
can we
council meeting?
do? Like, we want to partner with you and see, is there an auxiliary staff? Is there
I
something
can ask the
that?
chief if she can send her or a delegate.
To go to
Yeah.
our next meeting.
Yeah, because some,
A
like
delegate.
Tina, isn't there like a lieutenant on at night that can come, or someone? No, no one on at night? that can-
Depends who it is.
All right, well, I'll
Jason will
talk to
clear them
the chief.
out.
I'll talk to the chief. If she cannot make it herself, maybe she can send, GATA or somebody,
Yeah, it would be
like,
good, yes.
you know what I mean?
The other thing you're installing now is cameras also.
But who's watching the camera?
But
Is
it-
that to only go
No,
back if there's a
yeah.
problem?
It's not gonna solve.
Yeah,
it's not
the
gonna
lie.
bottom.
It is live view, but I don't think anyone's
Well,
visually.
if
Yeah.
no one's monitoring it,
Right.
it's not gonna be
The
helpful
cat-
in the
but-
actual act at the time it's happening. Like if somebody's monitoring it, they could say,
No.
hey, there's a bunch of kids there drinking
No.
at the park.
The
send
way I
me over.
understand it, the
that would be
cameras
different.
are gonna be a tool to look back
Right,
at if something
exactly.
happens.
Like
Which
for
is
vandalism, like
Which
that
is-
would be helpful.
Which is like better than nothing,
Right,
but you want to
exactly.
prevent it from happening in the first
That and the
place.
graffiti's a big issue.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like come back with a vengeance.
The
It went away
graffiti
for a little
is
bit.
disgusting. It's
All over
awful.
the village, all over the village.
Okay,
And I
Um,
did speak to her about enforcement of the no parking around the certain parks, things like that. And she,
How about just anywhere there's no parking signs or
Well,
no standing signs, the police just.
I
do what
did,
they're supposed to
and
do.
actually, I think that in your neighborhood, there's been more patrolling and tickets given out.
Right, and so there's another organization that was just created that actually was working with the chief, and the board. So, yes, yeah.
Mhm.
But that's, if you see something, say something, that's what we do.
Right.
And so everybody's on the hook to do that.
Mhm.
okay.
All right, wait, so
You
I'm
each
putting
get
on,
30
I'm
seconds.
putting on the revenue and the code enforcement.
For next,
With the
for
police
the next.
officer.
And you're
Yeah,
gonna
with
reach out
somebody from the
to
police
chief?
department. Thank you.
And we have to thank Carrie for doing this.
Thank you.
Thanks,
as
Carrie,
always.
for doing the
Oh, so just, if I can ask when we're done.
Do you guys have an update?
Where we got? Oh, so recreation, we did all the scarecrows out here
That's
and
awesome.
fall decorations
job,
around the
yeah.
buildings and
Mhm.
stuff. Thanks to the park for helping us install and all that.
It looks like people have been like saving stuff all year to do it.
Yeah. We got a bunch of like charity walks and things like that we got up, fall sports, turkey trots out now, so we're working on that. Christmas and Hanukkah and all that stuff coming up, so we're working on that.
Just the season.
Is the season, programs and planning.
Jason, we forgot to put the website on here. That's
shoot.
quick and important.
Okay, wait, let's not jump out of order. Let me just go really quick.
Yeah.
And
Finish.
I'm writing it down. That's it. Jeff, give your.
All right, real quick,
Cut the grass.
we did the holiday
Cut the grass.
decorations.
did you cut the grass?
We cut the grass.
Okay.
We're cutting grass much faster these days because it's not growing as
Sure.
fast.
Right.
Holiday decorations, moms,
Mhm.
go to any firehouse, walk up and down the avenue, come down
Right
the
out here.
pavilion.
The big
Right.
field.
Beautiful.
No,
The
everything,
field you're
everything
redoing?
looks.
Yeah,
really
so
great.
moms, we're running more
Started
water
redoing the
supply in the
fields.
harbor. We closed down the soccer field to start leveling it and redoing it.
Nice sinkhole.
That's been accomplished. We aerated, seeded, and fertilized all 4 soccer fields, Little League outfield, Lanza outfield, and pavilion field.
Oh,
Yesterday, soccer called me because they thought somebody drove all over Lanza.
I saw him out there staring.
They're like, what happened to the?
I'm
field?"
I'm very quick on doing the work. I'm very slow with letting people know what I'm doing. I just
they
do it.
punched it? They
Yeah.
buried it? Yeah.
So that's pretty much the gist of things. We're still working on the firehouse, still working on flood stuff. Designing playgrounds, Christmas decorations.
Oh, I can't wait. Oh,
When's he
Everything.
sleep?
I was sleeping before when Jason called me.
You know, Jason, I have to say, when the last meeting, you emailed us your update, and I thought that was so helpful because it didn't take time away from the meeting, and we were able to then just ask any
Which
question
one
we
was
had.
that with all the
The-
flyers and stuff?
Yeah, I just thought that was a really smart way of doing
Do
it,
that.
unless you had like something major to discuss. It was just so easy because you listed everything that you needed to update. You actually never actually gave us the update in the meeting.
Yeah.
I thought it was
Do that.
helpful. Just
Can we
saying.
just like really quick? We keep forgetting.
Things really quick.
that-
Really quick.
I think Brittany and Cindy volunteered to help Jason fix the website.
Yes,
So if we can start on that,
whenever.
maybe, before
you're-
camp comes around
Yes,
again.
because we were told that it was supposed to start after summer. You couldn't do it in your
I'm
summer because
ready.
it was busy
I'm
season.
ready.
I'm ready
so-
What you
to,
do,
just
right?
not this weekend.
Why don't we
'cause
send
Booster
like a
Club is
note and we'll like figure out when we can meet, you know?
Yeah,
You think we can do that on a Zoom or it's gonna be like in person?
no,
I
do
think you could do it on Zoom, but
and we
I'm
can
up for it.
share,
Somebody could share.
we can
screen.
share screens
Okay.
and
And
if
what,
that doesn't work, then we'll have to meet.
one
like,
other
if you try that.
super
We're probably gonna
quick
have to be
thing.
with Robert because I have
Yeah, I
I have no ability to edit that website whatsoever.
Okay.
So like we'll have to.
Is
do
it
the-
Wix?
No, it's Civic Plus. It's a,
Okay, what is that?
it's a municipal, like if you go on a lot of Google any type of
Yeah.
local, smaller municipality, you'll see Civic Plus. It's
Yeah.
very common. But there's so many versions of it. Maybe we can
Gotcha.
find like
Yeah,
a better
okay.
version. And I don't know what for sure.
So Jason, you are going to email and.
Yeah, I'll email. So who's in?
Cindy and Brittany.
Yeah.
Because it has to conform, like, we only push things out, we don't take comments
Right.
because we don't want.
Yeah, there's all sorts of things that he's like aware of that I'm not in terms of municipal.
He's a whiz.
websites. Yeah.
Cool.
So who am I emailing? Cindy and.
Cindy and Brittany.
Did everybody get an email from the library about their event tomorrow? Okay, they asked me to remind
What event?
everybody. They're having like,
100th anniversary?
yeah,
It's the kickoff for their
Chocolate.
100th
I didn't get
anniversary.
anything.
It was on like the Parks and Rec.
Yeah, they sent it out a few
Yeah.
They
times.
sent it a lot,
Yeah.
I said that they,
They
a lot of
said 3 or
times.
4
so
times,
I
yeah.
guess they have gotten no RSVPs. So they don't know if they should keep it on or not. So they asked
What?
the chairs of all the
Sad.
committees to beg anybody to
Promote?
go.
Oh,
Yes.
to go.
The
But it's
100th year
tomorrow.
Anniversary of the library.
Well, I was,
Why am I
it's
first time
tricky on a
that?
weeknight.
What time is that?
6:30.
7 o'clock.
Tomorrow
Is
night?
Is it for kids?
Tomorrow
or-
night.
Oh, see,
I
that's the
can't. Tyler's
problem.
meeting next Wednesday.
No,
Tina,
We don't have that in there.
quickly,
Does he get a
Yeah,
medal?
Ryan has an
Ad
honor
hoc.
society for everything.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know.
I'll
Nora,
take
we
it, though.
never
Let's
never
put it on the
scheduled a
resume.
meeting
Come
for
on,
the
yeah,
year
tell the
round.
resume.
Or did they
No,
stop
we
you?
should- no, we just didn't do it.
Okay.
Well, let's do it, because they're gonna consider us an inactive committee and shut us down.
Right.
The library?
No, the ad hoc year-round rec committee.
Oh. Okay.
There's a sunset on these committees, right? Or whatever they
Well,
call it.
there's a sunset on the committees.
Okay. we-
Motion to
Yeah.
close the meeting?
Second.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
Our
you.
next meeting is scheduled
So
for
when do you
Wednesday,
think you'll
so
wanna work
no
on
strange
the-
dates going
Yeah,
on with
I'll take
holidays.
it.
November 2nd.
When's our next meeting?
Hotmail too.
Yeah, what-
Only, I only know
split it
that.
between
only
Mangles and
Carol
Rizzo.
had it. The Only
Oh,
reason.
gosh,
I
that's
have it,
gonna be
just write it up there
quite
now.
a
Make sure.
fun- Yeah, that's. the second one.
Somewhat.
Jason,
Wish I go there all the
No, I
time,
know.
but they just don't have the supply.
Yeah, that's the pricing too.
Yeah,
He's out of his mind.
yeah.
And then
So,
that'll be at
some stuff
7:30.